Hey friends. Today I want to talk to you about saying no more often. I'm reading Giannis Antetokounmpo's biography right now. He's the Milwaukee Bucks star player, my favorite athlete of all time. He's just an amazing and remarkable person. If you don't know his story, you should definitely look into him. I'm going to give you a couple of small pieces of the story today, beginning with the fact that he's a Nigerian immigrant who grew up in Greece, and his family were not citizens of Greece. And so they weren't able to get jobs the way a citizen could in Greece. And because they couldn't get a job, they couldn't get housing. And they were kind of stuck because you can't get a house without a job, but you can't get a job without citizenship, and you can't get the citizenship unless you have a house or a job or what have you, right? So it was like this catch-22 little circle that him and his family found themselves in. And so his mom and dad would work super hard at like these kind of odd under the table jobs just to make ends meet. And oftentimes they were a moment from being evicted, or they couldn't pay rent, or they were behind on the rent and they were struggling to feed their family. The four boys lived in a single bedroom with one bed and one couch. And if you know anything about the NBA and Giannis, he's a 6'11" guy. He's a big guy. All four of the boys in the family were big guys, and these four boys shared one bed, one couch, one bedroom. They oftentimes didn't have enough to eat. In fact, Giannis, growing up, would play basketball with his brother Thanasis, and they had to share one pair of tennis shoes because his family couldn't afford to have two. And so they would literally, Thanasis would play first, and Giannis would be sitting on the bench with just his socks. And when Thanasis was done playing, he'd come off the floor and take his shoes off, and Giannis would slip them on, and he'd be able to play in the tennis shoes next. This is the kind of life they lived. Now, by the way, he's an NBA MVP, an NBA champion, a true incredible success story, and he's been able to change the lives of his family so dramatically. But when he was a kid, his mom would work hard all day and come home and literally wash the four boys' socks every single night because they only had enough money to afford one pair of socks each. So these boys would sweat through their socks, and they'd have to then wash them and wear the exact same pair the next day, every single day. And there was a time that they were really low on income. This is a story I really wanted to tell you. The income situation was really in a rough place. And there was a neighborhood man who owned a cafe, an internet cafe, who would occasionally give Giannis and his brothers free food. He would give them a milkshake or give them a smoothie or give them a piece of fruit when they were walking by. And he was just this generous, loving man who supported them. And one day they went to him and they asked for a job. Giannis said, can I work for you? Can you hire my brothers and I? Like, we really need income right now. And the man declined. He said, no, I can't hire you. I will give you food. I'll give you more food, but you need to go to basketball practice. Like, you've got a real potential. You've got a real future here. And he wouldn't hire Giannis to work in the cafe because he knew that if he hired him, that Giannis would stop going to basketball because it would provide the solution for his family, but it would take away the opportunity for him to fulfill on his dream. And this man knew that Giannis had great potential. Now, by the way, Giannis earns like $50 million a year. If he would have taken that job, though, if the man offered him the job in the cafe, he would have been able to provide enough for his family not to get evicted, provide enough for his family to be able to eat each day, potentially, but never have had the real opportunity to pursue his dream. And so the man offered that alternative solution. I'll feed you more. I'll take care of you more, but you got to go to practice. You can't work here. What a gift that man gave to Giannis and his family. Really, really cool story. And if you want to learn more about it, you can, look up Giannis's biography. He didn't write it himself. And you can read more about his story there as I'm reading about it now. But what it got me thinking about is, as entrepreneurs, it's so easy to say yes to a short-term solution to our problem at the expense of the long-term opportunity to pursue our dream. And I know everyone's in a different situation, and sometimes that's the right thing to do. And My heart goes out to anybody who's in that situation where they have to say yes. And there's so many people in that situation. You have to say yes to the thing you don't want at the expense of the thing that you do want. But for some of us, we could say no. We could say no to the short-term fix. We could accept a little bit more discomfort, a little bit more uncertainty to say yes to our dream. And if you're in a position where that's possible for you, if it stretches you, but doesn't quite stress or break you, to say no to that thing you don't really want and to create additional leverage for the thing you do want, I just want to encourage you to say no to the thing that's going to get in the way. Say no to the thing that's a distraction. I also want to invite us to say no to the things that get in the way of our business's progress. Say no to an overly complex and complicated business as a new coach so that you can say yes to simplicity and move forward with your dream. Say no to all of the projects that don't directly affect you making more sales and growing your business as a new coach. I know so many new coaches, you've heard me say this, like they're going to get back into a website project. They're going to really dive deep into social media marketing. And I'm not saying that those things are bad. You should have a website. You should be involved on social media. These things are great. You should write a book someday if you want to. You should have a podcast someday if you want to have one. You should, be writing a blog someday if that's important to you. You should do all the things. And if we're doing all of those things, and we're not doing anything to make a sale this week, this month, this quarter, this year, then we're saying no to our dreams. I don't want you to say yes to all of these marketing ideas and the complexities of the marketplace for how you can run your coaching business and instead have to say no to revenue, say no to sales. I want you to say yes to sales and say no to some of the other stuff if you need to. If you're running out of time, if you're spreading yourself too thin, start saying yes to the sales-focused activities, meaning prospecting, actually sending out messages and inviting people to have conversations, whether it's a direct sales conversation or it's more of an open coffee meeting. What we need to be doing is inviting people to conversations and inviting the right people in those conversations to join our programs. We need to ask great questions. We need to say yes to networking. We need to say yes to asking for referrals. We need to say yes to having real sales calls, making real offers, and asking people whether or not they want to buy. And to be able to prioritize that probably means saying no to some of the other things that you've let take precedence over the sales-focused activities that are going to help you reach financial viability in your business and keep your dream alive. We probably need to say no to more ideas. And this can be a hard part for entrepreneurs. And I'm speaking to myself right now. I need to say no to more ideas so I can say yes to focused progress on the ideas I'm already taking action upon. Entrepreneurs are fickle. So many of us. So many of us have shiny light syndrome. We like to move from one thing to the next, and we make a little bit of progress on this thing and then encounter a little bit of adversity, and then we hear a new idea and we're like, oh, I'll try that instead. Maybe that'll work better. But the problem is if we go from idea to idea to idea, we're never going to reach like true success and momentum in any of those ideas, in any of those places. We need to stay in the same lane long enough and be consistent with our effort and our activity long enough to yield the result. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't pivot ever. We've made some big pivots and we've made a lot of little pivots with Faith2Influence, and most of them were necessary and good. But there are no doubt things that we did, changes we made, ideas we pursued that got in the way and were actually a distraction to our success. And I should have said, no, thank you. We're going this way right now. And it's a hard thing to do, but it's an important thing to do. We need to begin to say no to ideas. We need to say no to certain activities so that we can say yes to focused behaviors and actions that are going to get us the result that we actually want in our business. And so that's my invitation to you, to say no more often so that you can say yes more often, to create boundaries around building the business that you want. And by the way, we should also, to build the business that we want, be considerate of the life that we want. And so we need to say no to certain things inside of the structure of our business to make sure that we're maintaining proper boundaries and healthy boundaries for our life, for our family, for our faith, that we're prioritizing those things too. We need to say no to the things that we don't want so that we can have and say yes to the things that we do want. This is the way that this works. And so There's so much more I could go on about this. I could give example after example after example, but I just want to remind you it's okay to say no. I want to actually remind you it's imperative to say no to certain things. It's probably also imperative for you to say no to certain relationships. Certain relationships that you know are unhealthy for you, you might begin saying no to so that you can say yes to healthier, more empowering relationships with people who lift you up and encourage you. We have to say no to spending our time and energy on certain people, in certain places, on certain activities, so we can say yes to spending our time and energy on other types of people, situations, places, activities that are going to lift us up and give us energy and allow us to fill our cup. We talk about this. It's so important to have self-care, to fill our own cup, to put ourselves in situations that are going to increase and improve and elevate our energy and our emotion so that we have more to give to others. When we take care of ourselves, it allows us to take care of more people in a more empowered way. Start saying no to the things that are not healthy for you, the things that are not healthy for your business, the things that are in conflict of your dreams, the things that make things overly complicated and difficult. And start saying yes to what you really want, and yes to the activities that are going to help you achieve what you really want. Yes to the people that are going to support you in achieving what you really want, creating the life that you really want, the business that you really want. This is easier said than done. We don't need to go from 0 to 100 overnight. You might take baby steps first. Let's at least take the first step, which can sometimes be the first no. What can you start saying no to even today, even this week? God bless you all. I'm cheering for you. I'll talk to you more soon.